All right. Well, speaking of health issues,
Oh, good.
speaking of health issues, now
Yeah.
we are now our first live show of the new year of 2020.
Mm.
And aside from bad 2020 jokes
Yeah.
and hindsight's always 2020, it turns out, I guess now everyone's going to be starting their New Year's resolutions. So our
Of
first question
course.
is, where do New Year's resolutions come from? Why start something on January 1st or Monday or whatever it is versus any other random day?
Yeah, I'll jump in here because I've gotten a lot of questions about this recently and talked to a lot of people who are making resolutions and wondering how to best make resolutions. I think the reason that there's a collective move toward this is because it lowers it essentially is a little bit anti-ego trapping in the sense that the expectations are a little bit lowered because everybody's transforming their lives today. Everybody's turning over a new leaf and nobody really expects anyone to make good on it. So that, in addition to the fact that this is just the kind of culturally agreed upon first day of the new year, fresh start, we're finally going to take some action on all of those competitive goals that have been following us around and that we've been acutely aware of for the last 365 days. This is it. This is when we do it. So I mean, there's nothing magical about January 1st. I don't think it has anything to do with the astrology of the Capricorn season or the phase of the moon or anything like that. I think this is just a cultural moment, and it's very much like this is the one time a year where you can go in and announce to the office that you just signed up for a gym membership and you're going to do things differently this year, and people don't hold those expectations against you the way that they're going to the rest of the year because it's just a New Year's resolution. So you can have a high expectation for yourself, but you kind of have this comfort of knowing that you're in a position where you could outperform people's expectations, and there's not much more motivating than that. That's the opposite of the ego trap, when people are expecting more from you than you think you can deliver. So this at least it starts off with a nice little motivational boost that gets a lot of people going. Of course, it doesn't really last very long for most resolutions because most people are making resolutions that are objective based, not process based. But that's a whole other question.
Well, maybe we can talk about another
Fabulous.
show. Yeah, I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we
Yeah, well,
That's
actually, you
just
know what?
that's
Let's
a
talk about it.
beautiful
Yeah, let's talk
insight.
about the
Yeah.
process-based goals
Yeah.
versus objective-based goals.
Yeah, I mean
Talk
that's
about.
really that is the heart of any goal setting and any motivational process, but particularly if you're trying to make a successful New Year's goal, is people fall into this trap of linking their objective to all of the external esteem that they think that they're going to harvest when they accomplish that objective. So they're going to lose 100 pounds, and that's going to make them much more attractive as a mate, and it's going to make more popular at work or whatever. They're anticipating this big competitive payoff to accomplishing the goal. So they have an objective-based goal, make a bunch of money or get a promotion or lose a bunch of weight or whatever it is. And it's important to have these goals, and it's important to be very specific about them. That's part of the motivational magic, is to have a very specific, competitively relevant goal, because you're not going to feel the motivation to accomplish anything unless it carries some sort of significant payoff with it in terms of what it's going to do for your projected esteem situation in the future. So it's not that having objective-based goals are necessarily bad, but the problem is that most people stop there. So they write their little list and they make their little resolutions, and so we can just do weight loss for an example, because that's obviously the most common resolution that people have, because it's the most competitively relevant problem for a lot of people, probably most people. So they say, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds this year, and this is great. But then they get into week 2 and they haven't gone to the gym for a couple days in a row, and they've gotten into some indulgent food, and they feel like, well, whatever, I guess I missed the boat this year and I didn't do it, because they didn't set up what the daily fundamentals were going to be on a regular basis to accomplish that goal. And the little fundamentals that are the process are what you really need to be attuning yourself to, because that's going to give you, it actually goes back to that article that we're talking about. That article is saying that the sense of purpose and joy in life is very linked to progress, not achievement per se. It's progress toward achieving something really important. And so that's what we're wanting to orient ourselves to in the process of any kind of New Year's resolution. So instead of asking yourself whether you've accomplished the outcome of a goal, you're looking at whether you did the basics that are eventually, inevitably going to get you to where you want to be today. And this initiates the whole self-esteem process, which we've talked about a lot in other episodes. And that really is kind of a whole separate question, but the process of developing pride in your ability to take action towards something that is competitively important for you really is the secret of feeling fulfilled and feeling like you're making meaningful progress toward a goal. So that's essentially what kind of New Year's resolution you want to have and how you should reframe your New Year's resolutions if you want to not hit your first roadblock and turn the table over.